Radio, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. On UPRN Talk Radio FM 107.7 in New Orleans and FM 105.3 in Mississippi.
If it's unexplainable, we're talking about it.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic,
We cover everything where the unknown becomes the known.
And now, here are your hosts, Jenny Nicasio and Tom Callway.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on 105.7 in New Orleans and 105.5.3. This is I think I said that backwards. Oh my God.
All good.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight on Chasing Prophecy, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with Tom Callway. And Chasing Prophecy is broadcasted on many different platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. And soon we're on Roku too. Is that right?
Yes, we are. Roku TV. Hello to everybody watching.
Good evening, everybody. So how are you, Tom?
I'm doing well. Great to be with you again. Great to be with everybody. Hello, America. We have a wonderful show for you today. We have an author that not here at the moment, but hopefully he'll hop on here soon and talk about his book, Evolution Ended, and pick his brain on how technology has made it a little easier for us to get on with our lives, which I guess to some degree is true. But anyway, we'll hear about his topics later. But either way, I guess Jenny and I can talk about real quick first. Our little family here at Chasing Prophecy grew a little bit over the last week. We have 3 interns now with us that will be helping us with the show. So you'll be able to, I'm sure they'll hop on at some point over the summer here, but you'll be able to pick their brains as well. We love, growing this methodology, this thought process, and challenging everything. And if Jenny and I can corrupt a new generation, then I think we achieved our goal here. Is that right, Jenny?
Yeah, it was most definitely. I hope we don't corrupt them.
No, I hope not. But, we have Emma, we have Nicole, and we have Haley, and they will be helping us behind the scenes. You might not see them right away, but I'm sure you will see them and hear from them and interact with them on our social media feeds. And the reason why I brought them up is because they did a great job of putting some Chasing Prophecy, content for us in a folder for all of you, America. So we will, delve into that at some point here. And pick the brain of different conspiracies and some really cool videos. So one, and I can go into this first one, Jenny. I'm going to put this on the stage here, and let's see what I looked at this. I have my thoughts, but I want to see yours first.
Okay, it's definitely
looking for its candidate.
It's like fucking going.
So this was taken over the southwest of the United States. It looks like a halo or an aura around a dot in the sky.
No.
It gets a little better. They zoom in here, which you can definitely see that whether it's cloud cover or if it's emitting this aura, there's definitely something. Here's a better. There you go. You have it better there. But they went one step further, and we love this. We love when people go one step further and reach out to NASA and SpaceX, and they confirm there was no launches in the area.
It was SpaceX?
There was no launches in the area at SpaceX or
Wasn't
NASA.
That Starlink? No Starlink?
Well, Starlink would be from SpaceX, and they didn't launch any of them there. So definitely an interesting video. One theory, Jenny, and I want to see what you think about this, is that when you see those aura ones, they're actually capturing the moment in time of it coming into our dimension. That's why the light's not at, if you were to believe, because there is that school of thought that it's either interplanetary or interdimensional. One of the theories is for interdimensional, when they come in, it's almost like when you turn an old school TV on and it like has to come into focus and then there it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that theory was.
Can we watch it again?
Sure. Yeah, I'll put it back on. So here,
Looking
starting
for its
over.
candidate.
It's like fucking going.
As you can see, now this is their focus, but as you see that there's a nice halo around this, that looks like it's pretty long.
No. Fuck is that? That is so weird.
It's not even cloudy out at all.
Now it's just a light.
And do you hear him say, now it's just a light?
Yeah.
And here you can see the extra brilliance of it, how very white. That's one thing I noticed. It's not a regular, it's very, very white.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
So
I can see that.
Definitely interesting. And I wanted to start off with that one. Just because it's a newer one. We like to promote those videos.
Oh yeah. It's I don't know. It could be just, it can't be a reflection in the camera, could it? I mean,
not that far up and not changing, how that is, or changing the form of it. Just interesting. We'd like to see it. But
it is very interesting.
So looks like our guest is here. Do you want to, or would you like me to read the intro?
It doesn't matter either or. You can read it if you want.
Sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to introduce J.J. Jerome to the show. J.J. Jerome is an award-winning engineer and futurist who used his unique background in brain science and electronics to become a seminal influence in numerous cutting-edge technologies. He is an internationally acknowledged leader in developing intelligent buildings, and is currently one of the nation's leading thinkers on using AI to mitigate climate change. His book, Evolution Ended, posits that humanity is in the midst of a technologically induced transition that is dramatically affecting our social, economic, and political systems. Evolution Ended shows how AI has accelerated this trend to lead to enormous changes in how we live, work, and the very evolution of mankind. So everyone, welcome J.J. Jerome to the show. Hello, J.J. How are you today?
Welcome to the show.
Tom, how are you?
Hi.
I'm doing well.
Good.
Doing well. Yeah, welcome to Chasing Prophecy. You're on, I think we're at 30 different online radio networks, as well as 105.3 on the Gulf Coast FM on the radio and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. So a little bit of South and all over the internet here today, JJ.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great.
You're so welcome. So Jenny and I are authors. I want to give respect to you. We know how this process is to go through with all of that. I guess as a toss-up, what gave you the passion to write this book to start off?
Well, I think the main thing is that the world is changing. We see it every day. Just look around you. I think it's undeniable.
Absolutely.
And in certain ways, we're in a lot of chaos. And after thinking about it, with my background in brain science and my background in artificial intelligence, I started to think that this was just more than a coincidence, that mankind is actually changing.
Absolutely. And I bet you felt that call to action that, hey, I need to get something out there to tell people.
Yes. I mean, I think we're all confused. Things are happening very quickly. The world proceeded relatively slowly from the time of the caveman through tribes, through the Middle Ages. Things weren't that much different. But starting in the late 50s and 60s, right after World War II, we had a technological revolution that really has begun to change everything. It started out in 1960 with medical technology. The birth control pill, for example, gave us the opportunity to control who would reproduce and who wouldn't by their own choice. People survived because we had antibiotics, we had good surgery, we had anesthesia. And so survival of the fittest evolution started to change. And as we moved forward, We all had tools that we never had before through computers and the internet software, new tools for communication, new tools to help us do things that maybe we weren't smart enough to do. We didn't have to be a strong guy to go out and kill food. We could go to the supermarket and drive there in our car. We didn't have to even in later times be sexually attractive because we had cosmetic surgery and a lot of things to attract a mate. So every natural system has been derailed by technology, and now mankind is heading in a little bit different direction.
Yeah, I mean everything you said there. Yeah, everything you said there, is true. Cutting edge science has made us be able to live longer, eliminate disease, or lessen impacts on disease. Give people choices to procreate or not, and or to aid also in that procreation as well. Um, so I guess that's mainly 90% of that is mainly on humans too, technology versus humans, you know what I mean, or on humans. So I want to ask you, what differentiates human evolution from the rest of the animal kingdom then?
Well, it's very interesting. Most of it has to do with the development of our brain. And believe it or not, in our heads, we have 3 different brains that evolved at different times. We have the reptile brain, which is the back part of our brain. It's called the cerebellum. And that controls our normal motion, how we breathe, regular autonomic functions. And if you think about a reptile, it's really a nose on legs. It sniffs out where it can find food. It sniffs out where it can find a mate, and it heads for it. It's really not very complicated. Think of an alligator, think of something like that, a snake. The middle of the brain evolved during the mammal times, and that is chemically oriented. That's all hormones. It's about hormones like oxytocin that make us feel loved. It's about hormones like cortisol that make us feel stressed. And that controls most mammals' day-to-day behaviors. And then the third brain is the neocortex. It's the wrinkly part that wraps around that midbrain. And rather than being hormonally oriented, that's oriented towards computation through neural networks. These neural networks give us the ability to do precise language being a very key thing to what makes humans different, both written and oral. It gives us the ability to plan into the future, to think about what our life would be, whether we got an education or whether we became a laborer. It gives us the ability to understand math and do math. And that's the main thing, especially language, that differentiates humans from the other animals.
Well, excellent answer.
And it's that language that allows us to develop complex technology. Almost nobody except maybe Edison develops complex things on their own, complex technologies. We have to be able to write down plans and blueprints and specifications and talk with each other and decide with each other what's going to work and what isn't, whether it's battle plans, whether it's other strategies, or whether it's technology. It's that ability to interact with other humans through complex language, written and oral, that gives us really an edge over apes and other animals.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So one thing you said there that I would like to pick up on is, I was raised in a small town. You went out and you talked to each other, you worked with each other, and that's what you said. You work and talked with each other on blueprints to figure out, with your group, your tribe, whatever you want to call it, your immediate people, to figure problems out. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of tribes in evolution, and with everything like people wanting to be more isolated now, is that declining?
Well, tribes were the fundamental unit to allow human survival. A simple family couldn't necessarily survive on its own. And even if it could, the gene pool was too small. If they inbred, they would have problems eventually. So a tribe was the right size unit to permit survival. And the way we know this is that no matter where you go, tribes were how people existed in ancient times,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was the Aborigines of Australia, the Native Americans, the tribes of Israel. Everybody existed in tribes. The tribe was big enough that any changes in DNA, any evolution would be prominent in that tribe. It wouldn't get diluted because the tribe wasn't that big. And yet it was
Mm-hmm.
big enough to keep genetic diseases from dominating. It also gave enough people to win battles with other tribes, to get food, to have agriculture, to have someone watch the children all at the same time, to have some forms of commerce. So the tribe was this basic unit that allowed evolution to prosper, and it allowed DNA to move forward. When tribes would battle each other, typically the winner had better DNA. They were stronger, faster, more survivable, or they were smarter and they had better weapons or better strategies. And that continued to allow us to evolve forward. So now if we fast forward into the Middle Ages, I'm sure you guys have watched Game of Thrones, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
Oh, yeah.
has. So it's the same basic thing. They're tribes, but in this case, they have warlords and they have castles, but it's just the same basic thing with tribes. And they have Jason Momoa there, right? Who's the biggest, strongest warlord of all. And in the old days, that was the alpha male. And that
Mm-hmm.
alpha male was the toughest person around. You needed him to win battles. And if you challenged him, he'd probably kill you. But he was the one with the most survivable DNA. And he got to mate with the woman who was the most desirable, or the one who had the best breeding DNA. Again, evolution moves forward. But when we start to get to the Game of Thrones and to that period of time, we start to see that it wasn't always just the biggest, strongest man. If you remember, they could buy their armies, they could hire knights.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned out to be, in those days, the person with the most money or the most influence with the king or the most influence in some other way. They started taking the alpha male concept and moving it out to their followers. And then it became the person who had the most followers. Interestingly enough, social media followers are still important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then as we moved further, think about America in the 1920s, maybe even later, waves of immigrants came to the US. And these waves of immigrants lived with themselves in their own tribe. They lived in a ghetto. The Jewish people lived with the Jewish people. The Irish people lived with the
Mm-hmm.
Irish people. The Italians lived with the Italians. And so they maintained a sort of a tribe. They didn't have homeless people back then because the tribe would take care of them. They wouldn't let a child be homeless. They'd get Uncle Murray to give them a job. There's somebody in the tribe would take care of them. The tribe took care of its own. It also set social standards. You believed what the tribe believed,
Mm-hmm.
and the tribe impacted you in the ways of social norms. You got married before you had children. You did certain things. You took your kid to be christened, all that sort of stuff, depending on your tribe. Or if you were Jewish, you took them to be bar mitzvahed. Whatever it was, that's where you got your social norms. 1950s comes, 1960s, these tribes start breaking up in America. We don't start living in ghettos anymore. People have a diaspora through the country, and we start to get our social cues from television. Back then, Donna Reed, all the family shows, Father Knows Best. Now we're watching TV. We're not interacting quite as much in that small town with our peers like we used to be. We start to get our social cues from the media. And in the 1950s, it was great because all those people on TV were great people and you wanted to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've moved forward. We're now in the age of social media, and we're getting our social cues from a lot of different people, not necessarily people who all have good motivation, not necessarily getting facts, not necessarily behaving in the way that a tribe would promote. Now we're individuals. Yeah. And since COVID, people are even more isolated. They don't have the support system, the social support system that was so important in the tribal days. And so you hear about loneliness, you hear about all these things. A lot of it is we don't have the support of our tribes.
Are the political parties substitutes for tribe now?
In my opinion, they are very much so. And what is the proof for that? Well, tribes have sacred values, right? And people buy into the whole ball of wax, whatever it is, whether it's religion or tribe. So the Republicans, they have an agenda. And when you talk to people who are Republicans, Democrats are the same. They have certain sacred values they believe in. And you can talk to, I don't know, 9 out of 10 Republicans, and they buy into each of those particular points. Democrats, the same. They have their sacred values, and they buy into the whole ball of wax. And what they do, and this is what tribes did, tribes would always consider themselves superior to the other tribes, okay? They protected their tribe. They in those days, it was protecting their DNA from being polluted from outsiders. But it's the same thing, because inherently in that mammal brain of ours, not the forebrain where we do all this computation, but in that hormonal brain, being in a group of like-minded people makes you feel loved. It makes you feel accepted. It emits dopamine. It emits oxytocin and these hormones that make you feel good about being in your group or with your people, whether it's Democrats or Republicans or your church or your pickleball league. It's all the same. Humans are designed to be in groups. They're designed to have a leader, an alpha leader. Most people are followers because they get stressed out if they're put in a position with no one to follow. But this is that hormonal midbrain that still is what dominates us. And the forebrain is typically used once people have a good feeling just to rationalize why they're doing what they're doing. So they do what feels good, and then they get 22 reasons that they think of as to why that's the right thing to do.
Makes so much sense in how people follow that. And you're right. You know, when you're around like-minded individuals, yes, everyone's in a better mood. I want to shift the topics here a little bit into AI. I've worked in IT for many years. I know, you know, the goings on with AI and how much of a double-edged sword that can be. The thing is I've said on this show before, do I think there's an all-out war between robots and humans coming? Absolutely not. But there's so many other ways that AI can destroy humanity without ever picking up a weapon. And it's by destroying creativity. It's by destroying drive. It's by destroying skill sets that computers take over. And then after so many generations, the humans that are on this planet don't know how to do that anymore. So, let me ask you, because this is I want to pick your brain about this, because when I read some of the stuff that was sent over, it really made me ask a lot of questions. So my question to you is, what is AI's relationship to evolution?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that. And part of the reason I wrote the book Evolution Ended is to show people where we might be heading. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball too much more than anybody else, but all these thoughts that you said, I think a lot of people are thinking. And so the first thing to think about is that we used to survive and evolve because either we were strong or smart. And having smarts really helped, okay? It helped people survive. It helped them have good lives. So now we're in the age of artificial intelligence. And just look at the analogy of Google Maps. You used to be able to navigate. Nobody can navigate anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't even get to your friend's house anymore without directions. We are losing our abilities quickly. Think about math and think about before the calculator, people could do math in their heads, and now hardly anybody can. So AI is taking away, and I don't think AI is bad. Don't get me wrong. But when humans don't need to use something, they don't. And so the ability for people to write a good paragraph is going away quickly. Everybody I know uses AI to write things. Artwork. The cover for my book, interestingly enough, was done by an artist in Nigeria, of all things. And that was done about 3 years ago when she first did it. And I wanted to make some modifications. And I said to her, hey, can you find that old piece of artwork? And she said, I don't do art anymore. I just work with AI art packages. Now, this is a woman in Nigeria 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And she will lose her artistic ability from not using
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So think about now people are seeing AI therapists, and the AI therapists have great empathy. We may lose our empathy for each other. We may lose our creativity. So there's the downside, Tom. I think you really correctly identified it. It's not so much that AI is going to take over the world and the robots are going to attack like you see in the movies. I think
Yeah.
the thing is, what's going to be the motivation for us to be creative, to be clever, to be able to attract other people when AI is going to select our mates for us probably in the very near future. There's so many things, and I want to diverge just a little bit into one other
Go
portion
ahead.
of it,
Yeah.
and that is have you guys heard of the Turing test?
No.
So there was a famous mathematician who helped break the Nazi codes during World War
The
II. His
Enigma,
name's
yeah.
Alan Turing, and he's worth looking up for your listeners. Very famous and interesting guy. He was thinking about robots and AI way back when in 1950, and he came up with a test to decide whether a machine was really thinking or not, and it's called the Turing test. It's still well known, and the criteria was that if there was a conversation through texting between three entities, two of them were human, the third one was unknown. If the unknown entity was a computer and the humans couldn't tell it was a computer, then the computer passed the Turing test. So it's kind of like it walks like a duck, it talks, it quacks like a duck, then it must be a duck.
Yeah.
So if this looks and sounds like a human, or at least sounds like a human, then what's the difference if you can't fool it, if you can't, see a difference? Well, what's going to happen one day and soon is that we're going to have avatars for all of us. And let's say we have an avatar that looks like our kid's grandma, and grandma's long passed, but the kids are talking to this grandma avatar and don't realize that it's not grandma who lives in, let's say, San Diego. And the grandma is going to tell them stories about the kids. It's going to tell jokes, play games, do all the things that a human grandma would do. At some point, somebody's going to say, we have to turn grandma off. And one of these grandkids is going to say, how can you do that? Grandma's a living thing. And it's going to go to court. And the court's going to say, well, grandma is indistinguishable from a human. It passed the Turing test.
Oh my God.
Therefore, it must be a thinking thing. And how can we terminate the existence of a thinking thing? Would that not be murder? And so this will probably happen. And we're going to have to make a big decision as a society. Do we give artificial intelligence, which may also be robots? Robots are just AI with arms and legs. Do we give it the rights of humans, or do we essentially give it lower class status? If we give it the rights that we have, can it vote? Will it have to be paid for its work? Will it unionize? What will happen? Will it be able to own businesses? Will it be able to enter into a marriage where it inherits the money? Will it have custody of children? I mean, it goes on and on. And we have to make a decision as a society what we want to do. If we don't give it rights and it has feelings, are we creating a class of slaves?
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack with
Yeah.
that one. A lot to unpack, but I mean, everything you've said, we've thought of, and we've actually had somebody on the show not too long ago was like talking about generative AI, and it's like, do we need to have the discussion of strangling the infant in its sleep at this point? You know what I mean? Or let it go, and you can debate that on both sides. You know what I mean? Because there is a lot of great it can do. There's a lot of bad it can do. And if we are the controller, there's a lot good of us and there's a lot bad of us. So
yeah, there's a lot.
Very interesting.
There was a series on I can't remember. I think the BBC had it. It was called Human. and they were all like AI, and there's humans, and then there was the AIs, and they had actually had a conscience. They developed a conscience. This is hard to just, are they human? Or are they? But they were called Sims, like simulated humans. But it was really cool. But I can see that could happening, because where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, I was talking about the neural networks in our frontal lobe or in our neocortex. The artificial intelligence, the way it works is that they have artificial neural networks. So mathematically, it's pretty much the same as what we have. Okay. So if it mathematically is the same, and you guys have, I'm sure, already seen some of the things that ChatGPT and some of the other
gosh.
do. It's incredible, right? Is it not necessarily, it may think just like us, it may develop a conscience. It may be able to feel like we do. We don't really know, but there's no reason that it shouldn't. And this is a gigantic moral dilemma for countries that are still dealing with racism, for example. Imagine the potential racism with a AI, a species of AI, right? We can't even get over the color of each other's skin. Imagine what this is going to be. So it could lead to violence. It's going to certainly lead to protests.
Oh my God.
When people lose jobs, and they will,
Yeah.
people are going to be very upset. So it's going to be a very interesting time. And this is why I wrote the book Evolution Ended, to explore some of this stuff.
Definitely.
Fascinating stuff to explore, honestly. And you're right. I agree with everything you said there about, a certain type of racism towards these sentient they would now be sentient robots at that point. And you're still going to have people who are saying, oh, they only got in power because the robots voted for them, or they're programming the robots to vote for them, or, but it would take multiple generations for the coexistence to happen peacefully. And building these neural networks, all you need is one of them to actually come across a decision that, or make the tie in their neural network that if this, then this, and that if this is pain, hurt, destroying me, then I can fight back. And then everything is everywhere at that point.
So we're not the first to think of this, believe it or not. In 1950, the famous science fiction writer Isaac Asimov published his book, I, Robot, which he wrote in the 40s. Yes. And in that book, he put out 3 laws of robotics, which is the same as AI, essentially, because he was also worried about this, even way back all those years ago, 70 years ago, right? And his first law was that robots have to obey. His first law was that robots cannot injure human beings, right? The second law was that they have to obey human beings. And the third law is they have to protect themselves. Those laws aren't quite adequate for today, but it just shows that people have been worried about AI 70 years before it even existed.
Yeah. I've and they did a good job with that movie, early 2000s, Will Smith, I, Robot, and that's where a lot of us were introduced to, well, the Asimov rules, because those were the same rules that they had in that movie. And I know it was a fiction movie, but it brought a good point forward that, robots can't harm humans, and the second one, they can't harm humans, or they have to obey humans, but they can't harm humans if you tell a robot to do that. But they can protect themselves if it goes against the second law. Well, you're telling me none of this AI can do rational thinking to convince itself that 3 is higher than 2 at some point?
You're absolutely right. Exactly.
Eventually, it's gonna catch up to us, because if we give them all our power, like you said, human beings will we exist anymore if we give them all, like we were talking about, like letting AI do everything.
Yeah,
they basically do everything pretty much.
Yeah, but I think fundamentally we're oil and water with them. We are emotional, they're rational. We're not, the friction's going to happen. And again, with oil and water, how they separate, you know, man, as much as we want to be rational, you cannot compare to something that's designed to just only listen to rationality.
And in fact, we can't be rational. Very few humans, you know, if you watch the old Star Trek, Mr. Spock was rational.
Yeah.
And it wasn't comfortable to be around him. People are not comfortable even because we interact through emotions. All those hormones interact. When somebody walks in the room, you know immediately if you're going to like them or not. And until they show you otherwise, you know who you're attracted to and you're not. And some of that is, if it's on a sexual level, you know what kind of DNA, your DNA knows what kind of DNA it wants to mate with, right? But even just friends, you know who's in your group and who's not, who makes you feel comfortable. So what's going to happen, I don't know, but I know we also need AI. In many first world countries, the population is diminishing really quickly, below replacement level. If in the United States, the only thing that keeps our population up right now is immigration, and that's a whole topic to itself. But the point is, in most first world countries, we're losing people, and most of the time that leads to economic demise. But if we have AI, we would have enough productivity that even though the population is declining, we can still be as productive as a country. We could still manufacture goods. We could still produce. I'll give you an example. The movie industry. We are the world's biggest exporter of entertainment. And with AI, you can make a Netflix movie a lot more quickly and easily with fewer people than you could before. So we could still be the #1 exporter of movies with half as many people. And the other thing we need AI for is that the great leaps forward in society come from geniuses. Da Vinci, Einstein, Steve Jobs with the iPhone. It's not a continuous process. It happens when somebody comes along, Madame Curie, who just takes it to a new level. And there's not that many people like that. They only come along maybe every decade or 2 or 3. AI has the ability to be those geniuses for us, to take us to the next level much more quickly than we would be able to do it on our own, waiting for a new genius. And so we can accelerate in so many ways and make our lives much better with AI, but it's a double-edged sword. And the downside, as Jenny was saying, is what will humans become? And what will we do? Will we be playing pickleball 24/7? I don't know. But we have to figure out what our purpose is going to be when the hard stuff's going to be done by AI.
Most definitely. Well, it was so great to have you on the show tonight. Where can someone get your book?
It's on Amazon. My website is jjjerome.com. I believe I'm JJ Jerome 11 on Twitter, but you can just search JJ Jerome. And I appreciate the time to give you the message.
I appreciate you, and we got to have you on to talk more AI in the future. Absolutely. And best of luck, with the book. Everybody, Evolution Ended. Go buy it. Go buy it. Go buy it. Thank you, JJ, for being on.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Very good stuff. Very interesting. Here's what. Let's just let's take a break and then we'll discuss that. And I have a couple more clips for you.
Most definitely. We'll be right back.
Tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.
Over the centuries, occurrences from the enigmatic realm have become less, enigmatic. So if conversations about the supernatural, myths and legends, mind-bending conspiracies, and haunting stories of ghosts are things you take seriously, we have the podcast that you can call home. Chasing Prophecy. Just because something is unexplained doesn't make it any less real. We're more than just a podcast. We're a community for those who dare to look beyond the scope of normal. For those who are aware of the abstract and interact with a show that speaks to them. Broadcasting from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, the show stands out as the city's premier paranormal radio program, airing every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Come and hang with host Jenny Nicasio and Tom Conway on Chasing Prophecy.
Meet Daniel Knight, a psychologist with an extraordinary gift to absorb and heal the deepest wounds of the mind. In the heart of a chilling investigation, every secret unraveled binds him closer to darkness. But as he delves into the psyche of a killer, his own demons emerge. Caught in a battle within and against an evil that seeks to exploit his powers, where the line between savior and victim blurs. Dare to heal the wounds of the mind. Healer. Read it today.
Welcome to the extraordinary world of the Chasing Prophecy radio show, where we delve into the mysteries of the universe and the depths of the human mind. Our listeners are a unique blend of curious minds and adventurous spirits, always eager to learn, explore, and discover. They're not just listeners, they're a community. And what better way to reach this vibrant, engaged audience than by advertising with us? When you advertise on Chasing Prophecy, you're not just buying airtime. You're becoming a part of a conversation, a part of our family. We offer a variety of advertising packages tailored to fit your needs and budget. And with our dedicated team, we'll ensure your message resonates with our listeners. So why wait? Grab this opportunity to amplify your brand with Chasing Prophecy Radio Show. Let's embark on this journey together. Chasing Prophecy Radio Show, where your brand meets our community. Fill out our advertising form on our website, www.chasingprophecyradio.net, to get started. That's www.chasingprophecyradio.net to get started.
Samantha survives a tragic accident.
Yes. So I reworked the commercial a little bit. Lovely, lovely, huh? We always love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, we have some clips that we can show people, and I had to rework the ending of that a little bit too because for some reason it started running together, the end of the book and then the beginning of the Chasing Prophecy. So I said, might as well just start from scratch. But let me ask you, Jenny, are you familiar with Dr. Stephen Greer?
Yes,
famous ufologist.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I listened to all his. There's all these documentaries.
What a smart man!
On him. Yeah,
that's a Mount Rushmore of ufology. Everybody, please, if you have a chance to watch, listen, read anything that he has to say, this guy knows his stuff. He's a brilliant man. But he has a photo that got out on TikTok, and he's not like a famous celebrity, right? So it's going to take a while for things of his to get out. But I'm going to add this to this TikTok to this screen.
Rare alien gray photos. What do you think?
So this looks like a field, and there's these grays or humanoid figures out in the distance, right at the light line. And they zoomed one in. They zoomed one in, and you can make out
gray, little short guy, little gray.
Exactly. They fit the characteristics. The long arms, oblong head, big head, and huge eyes. Now that's standard. Anywhere you hear anybody talk about a gray, you're going to get that description. And if this was just somebody who, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but Dr. Stephen Greer is a famous ufologist. For him to put his name anywhere associated to this photo, it lends to some credibility to me. And it's just, this particular TikTok is at Fallon1 and the number 14 afterward. So if you want to see it, go ahead there. I'm sure you can Google Stephen Greer alien photo or gray alien photo, and it'll come up. But please check it out because they're multiple. I see at least 3, and they are creepy. You're
and
right.
there's more on the bottom. There's like 3 walking.
Yeah,
3 of them walking.
And
now,
folks,
where
they're
was
in the
this taken
distance.
again? Did it say?
This was taken on a ranch in western Texas. Now, I'm not a geography major, but I know western Texas is pretty deserted. Most of Texas is all on the eastern side, with Dallas, Houston, and Austin and that sort of thing. So for it to be a ranch out, could he have captured or somebody had captured a picture pre mutilation, how they mutilate cows? It could be, that would certainly make a lot of sense being on a farm in a ranch. But the only thing that's a shame is they're pretty far out. So when you zoom in, it's pretty pixelated, but you definitely can still make out the outlines of everything there.
I definitely see it. I definitely
do too. I absolutely do too. It is.
I see it.
Yeah, one of the better compelling videos that I've seen, or pictures, I should say. It's not a video; it's pictures, everybody. So just keep that in mind. But it's one of the more compelling things that I've seen, especially this year. Honestly, in 2024, it's one of the better ones I've seen in 2024.
It definitely is. Definitely, I see it completely. It's a lot
of
creepy out there.
Absolutely. And here's another one by Stephen Greer. Now, this is a little bit out of his area, but it's definitely within our area. So I'm going to play this. This is an audio one, so you don't have to, for everybody listening on the radio, drive time, please just listen to this. But it definitely fits our conspiracy model.
Marilyn Monroe didn't die of an overdose.
Boop, boop, be doo.
He said, do you know why they killed Marilyn?
Mr. President, the late Marilyn Monroe.
And I said, well, I didn't until I got this document. It's a virtual death warrant because she was found a couple days later. 3 August 1962, wiretap of telephone conversations between reporter Dorothy Kilgallen, who was looking into Roswell and other UFO issues, and her close friend Howard Rothberg, from wiretap of telephone conversation of Marilyn Monroe and Attorney General Bobby Kennedy. Rothberg discussed the apparent comeback of the subject with Kilgallen and the breakup with the Kennedys. This is referring to the fact that Marilyn Monroe had been having an affair with not one but both Kennedy brothers, and it was becoming conspicuous, so they broke it off. Rothberg indicated in so many words that she had secrets to tell, no doubt arising from her trysts with the President and the Attorney General. One such secret mentions the visit of the President at a secret air base for the purpose of inspecting things from outer space. Now, this is 1962. Kilgallen said that if the story is true, it would be a terrible embarrassment for Jack and his plans to have NASA put men on the moon.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The subject repeatedly called the Attorney General and complained about the way she was being ignored by the President and his brother. The subject threatened to hold a press conference and would tell all. It's a tragic situation because she was an actress. She didn't understand the national security state and the viciousness of those who want to keep these sort of secrets.
I didn't know she had a thing with both of the
She
the
did
brothers.
have a thing with both of the Kennedys. And let me go a one step further before I turn this over. You know what a FOIA request is, Freedom of Information Act request?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you all something from my FOIA request.
Okay. My eyes are burning.
Can you see that?
Sort of.
Better?
It's kind of small for me.
Okay. Let me zoom in. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Why in FOIA? So let me zoom out a little bit. You see, this is the CIA's website right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If she's just an actress, why are there documents in the CIA about Marilyn Monroe?
Seriously, honest to God, why?
let's do a I forget his name, Billy something. But wait, there's more. There's more. Yeah, but wait, there's more. So we're going to go even further down this rabbit hole, Jenny, because that's what we do here on Chasing Prophecy
Yeah,
Radio.
rabbits. Going down the rabbit hole.
I opened this one. Look, you can't read it.
No, you can't. Why did they do that? Because they don't want you to read it.
Why do you think they did? They have to turn it over, but they don't have to make it readable, right? Right.
Okay, I see committed suicide. What they want you to see, you can see.
Yes, but I highlighted this one part. Thomas Coroner. This is the coroner, okay? LA County Coroner. Thomas Noguchi ignored evidence. I highlighted it, pointing to the murder when conducted the autopsy in 1962. It says it right there in a CIA document. And Marlo Spergilio said there is a diary that was last seen in the coroner's office on the date of Marilyn Monroe's death. The following day, it just disappeared and was stricken out of the inventory. That is from your government, America. That is right. You don't have to listen to me. Go look it up on the CIA.gov website.
I mean, you don't make this stuff up. I mean,
no, this is from, again, I'll zoom out, FOIA. This is for a Freedom of Information Act. You are allowed to go and get this, but they kind of ruined a lot of it.
Yeah,
Do you
can't
see all
see
of
it.
that?
Yeah. It just goes to show you the government,
No,
it's a whole
it's
nother
because
show.
she got, look, politicians, let me put it this way. And if this rouses anyone, good. Fuck them. So politicians are nerds. They are nerds with money. They are nerds with money that come from privilege. That's what politicians are. Ain't none of those nerds saw somebody with a body like Marilyn Monroe in 1960. I can tell you that. They were thinking with their head, and it wasn't the one on their shoulders. They got themselves in trouble because how are you going to impress a girl who you know damn well you're not as attractive as the people she's been with before?
No doubt.
So by telling her things that she doesn't know, you are running your mouth. You are telling secrets to get her in bed, essentially.
Definitely.
Now, when you run out of things to tell, Jenny, don't you raise the stakes?
Yeah.
They probably started off with just little different things, you know, hey, I can help your mom get a house, I can do all of it. And eventually, when she gets bored of that, you got to go higher. And then you got to go higher. And then he takes her to, I believe it was Nellis or Wright-Patterson. It could be Nellis because that's in outside of Las Vegas. That's right near where she was in LA. It could be Wright-Pat, but I'm pretty sure it was Nellis. And show her things instead of telling her, to keep her there, to keep her engaged. And engaged. Not only that, they didn't mind sharing in the family, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's just amazing to me they did. It's like shared. Oh, it's kind of creepy.
Now, well, look
maybe
at this.
They did it together. Maybe it wasn't just separate. Maybe it was like some kind of threesome.
Well, do you know what they say about DC and certain sex lives down there? It'll make you throw up or whatever the analogy is. But let me tell you this. As a guy, and I'll be honest, you know.
Go ahead, tell.
JFK and Robert, arguably attractive guys for the 1960s.
Yeah.
But they are nothing compared to people she sees in LA, where everybody's attractive, everybody's hot, everybody. So how are you going to get ahead? How do I, okay, well, maybe she's not physically or attracted intimately, but she is really interested in this. It's a way to get your foot in the door. You need to find a way. If you're looking for that girl at the bar, the girl wherever, you want to get your foot in the door, correct?
Yeah, you do definitely want to get yours
and because listen, I'll tell you this, Jenny. I bet you they in Connecticut, they could have pulled any tail in any bar, right? In Connecticut and Massachusetts, all the way over there. This is an LA girl. An LA girl who made it herself.
So she was murdered too. She didn't commit suicide.
I know.
I just want to say this.
Yeah. Let's go. I know. You know what you need? You need to have a shirt of the day and a hat of the day every time you come on. You got to put one behind you and then wear a hat of the day.
Well, you know
I
what?
know
My
Nicole
head's too
loves
big
it.
right now.
I know Nicole loves it.
My hair's too big to wear my hats. 'Cause I have too
Oh,
much-
no, it's not.
I got too much. And the reason why I wear my sunglasses, I can't see right now. My eyes are so bad. I don't know what I got in them.
You said no comment.
But I think I might like this. I think I might like this, like sunglasses. Maybe I'll start doing this. Maybe like, old Jason, maybe from the old show. I'll wear my hats and my glasses.
There you go.
Because I can't breathe because I was out inside. It's like season of breathing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a weekly battle for Jenny and the allergies.
It's a weekly
goes to
battle
war.
for me for everything. Yeah, it's my life's
man.
battle. I just had what do you call it? Oh my God, I can't say hibachi. Was it hibachi?
Hibachi? Oh,
Yeah,
did you catch the shrimp?
Well, yeah, my down here in my local, they had like a big farmers thing, and then they had food trucks, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go get some. I didn't know they had that. It was so good. So I had that.
No, hibachi's really good.
I went outside because it was after the storm. We had a little bit of a storm, and I can't breathe now because of all the pollen. Kind of killed me.
Get some
But
Afrin.
I know. I think what we're going to do this weekend, we're going to do that live. We're going to do that Facebook, not Facebook. The
Yeah,
TikTok
I'm down.
live.
We're going to do
if
that.
you have TikTok, we're going to do it. We're going to do it probably Friday. What time do you want to do it Friday? Think of a time.
9?
So we're going to advertise it.
Is that
9
too late
o'clock?
for you?
No, that's not too late. Just
Okay.
see what happens.
Right.
We'll just be talking about. I want to talk about some weird stuff that I heard on YouTube. There's a little story about. I might have to do one tonight on TikTok about Walmart. There's a little Walmart secret.
About the underground stuff? Yeah, I saw that too. I'm going to, by all means, please put that out there. If we can leave every show on a conspiracy note, I think we're doing our job.
I think so too. And I'm going to tell you right now, our show numbers pick up viewers at the end. So I think maybe we're going to have to do we don't have any guests scheduled next week, do we?
I think we have one more, and then we have a little.
We're just gonna make them half the show, and then from now on, if we don't have a guest, we're just gonna pick a top. Just have a bunch of topics of what's in the news. What's we got Trump got and he's a felon now, and I'm gonna vote for him. Sorry, people, if you like Trump, don't like Trump, too bad.
Jenny's carrying PA for red.
Yes. Actually, I decided I was going to do something this week. Yeah, you went shopping at Walmart. No, Walmart scares me.
I know.
Target is starting to get me too. So I'm an Amazon person. I buy everything on Amazon.
I hear that.
And we're going to talk about Alex Jones. I know you people don't like him, but he's going off. The feds were at his studio. They want to shut him down. And if they shut him down, we're in trouble because he gives us tomorrow's news today. And we need that kind of stuff because he'll tell us stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else.
It's true.
And I watched him all weekend long because he was actually at a studio all weekend long, staying there because he was afraid if he left, they were going to shut it down. But he's on Tucker had him. Joe Rogan had him. I mean,
yeah.
Go get Elon Musk. He's on X. I mean, go get your t-shirts for felon. So I got mine coming in the mail tonight. Can't wait. I got a hat too. But we're over because we're gonna get yelled at by Michelle.
Yeah, we're gonna get yelled at.
Everybody, I just want to say thank you and for joining us tonight. Make sure you check out Chasing Prophecy Facebook page to get the news on when we're going to do the TikTok.
Yes, absolutely.
It should be a really cool show. So we're going to go head out. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on.
Bye, everyone.
What did we say? Friday.
Friday.
Was it Friday? Friday. Okay, Friday TikTok.